Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Today we're going to be doing a performance review for Transformers Devastation. This game just came out, hit Steam. It's already got very positive reviews on Steam. So I kind of want to give my initial thoughts on the game as well as cover the port quality, obviously, for the title as it is a console port. This is actually from the developer Platinum Games, who have done Bayonetta. They've done Vanquish, which are two amazing games. Bayonetta is an awesome beat-em-up sort of action game, which this is definitely in the vein of. It's kind of like Bayonetta with Transformers, which is honestly not a bad thing because Bayonetta was awesome and Transformers are really cool. I love the High Moon Studios games, actually, that Activision had put out for Transformers, War of Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. Those were two really good Transformers titles, like really, really good. If you haven't played War of Cybertron or Fall of Cybertron, I definitely recommend you go out and try to pick those up. Hit up G2A or Kingwin or something and try to get those games for, probably get them for under 10 bucks, I'd imagine. So definitely check those out. But today we're going to be looking at Transformers Devastation, and this is sort of the first Transformers game I've really seen like this that's truly captured the 80s nostalgia feel of the old cartoon. The graphics are ripped straight out of the old cartoon. The music, the voice actors even returning from the original cartoon series for this game, which just gives it an overall amazing feel. And the combat and the gameplay is fantastic as well, and we're going to delve into that in just a little bit. But first, we have to go ahead and jump into the options menu to see how they've done with the port quality here on the PC. So going ahead, jumping straight into options now, and the first thing I have to mention here is that mouse and keyboard support in the menus is not amazing. When I first launched the game, I can use the mouse to move around a little bit and click on things, but as soon as you start using the keyboard then becomes your primary implement, and I can't find any way to get out of that. So I have to basically use the keyboard to navigate the menus. So if I'm switching between the tabs up at the top, I have to use 1 and 2 to switch between. It's a little awkward, but it's definitely usable, and I've been playing the game using a mouse and keyboard in combat, and it's actually quite good, besides a couple little gripes, but we'll touch on those. So we'll see here, we can set vibration on or off. This is for controller, so obviously it has controller support, and a lot of people probably argue that this game is best played with a controller, but I haven't had any major issues playing it with a mouse and keyboard, apart from a couple of little quirks that I can overlook personally. We can remap our keys in here, and the only ones I found to be a little bit awkward were the equip for the up, down, left, and right. You actually have to use the arrow keys, and this is something I actually need to look into remapping to find something that's comfortable for me. Maybe like the 1 through 4 keys would be a little bit better for that. So I may actually go ahead and remap those. Do that right now, actually. Boom, boom. We're making changes here right on the show. Wait, no, that's 3. And that's 4. Okay. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. We got that set now. So now that's off the arrow keys. That's no longer an issue. That's no longer an issue as long as you change that, so you won't have to take your hand off the mouse to press the arrow keys. Melee slot, you can change the required melee slot for a weapon. Your range slot as well, you could change that for the different number keys, and I may actually have to change that now that I remap my fucking keys. Fucker. Alright, so I'm going to have to figure out a different key binding option for my different slots here, because it looks like that's going to interfere with my melee and my range slot, so that's something that should be noted. Just know that it's kind of a quirky keyboard thing, but you may want to just use a controller for this game anyway, because of the type of combat that it is. For the camera, we can invert the Y and X axis and adjust our sensitivity. You can also adjust auto aiming. I don't know why you would have auto aiming on using a mouse and keyboard. For a controller, I can maybe forgive you, but not with a mouse and keyboard, guys. Come on. Tracking, also you can turn camera tracking on or off, which I found to actually be pretty good in this game. Sometimes you do kind of get into that mode where you're kind of up your own character's ass with the camera angle, but it's not too bad, and it's better than some other games that I've seen out there for sure. On our display options in here, we can adjust brightness, subtitles, language, which supports English, French, Italian, German, Spanish, and right back to English. So there we go. We got some multi-language support for you guys if you're thinking about picking up this game in other countries. You can also set your map rotation on or off for your mini-map, which I like to see. I like the mini-map to be able to rotate with the character. Otherwise, I get kind of disoriented to where I'm actually heading. And your tutorials, you can turn those on and off as well, which prompt you with new things as you learn them throughout the game. And I found it helpful to leave that on because there are some pretty helpful tips that they do drop for you there. Coming over to our sound options, you can adjust your background music volume, and I definitely advise you to crank this up because the music in this game is awesome. I only have it turned down because we're doing this video, obviously. Sound effects, also quite good in the game. Voices, amazing. All the original voice actors, crank all that shit up. Audio mode, we do have 3 different options here. We could set stereo headphones, surround, or just plain stereo mode. So we've got 3 options there, which is good to see. Love that we have a stereo headphones options in there. Would I still see a surround headphones option as well? But I'm not going to nitpick too much. It's like they have a surround option in there that we can use. And you could also set inactive mode so that when you alt-tab out of the game, whether or not the game sound will actually continue to play or not. That's a nice option to see. I don't see that in too many games. That's really great. Okay, so coming over to our display, our graphics options, the good stuff, there is kind of a quirky thing with this game that I definitely have to mention about the resolution. So when I initially started playing this, I was on my 1440p monitor, and it was capping me out at 1920 by 1080. I couldn't play at 1440p. So I switched over to the 4K monitor to see what would happen over there, and oddly enough, it does have 4K support, but not 1440. So there is no option in the menus for 2560 by 1440. That's really kind of a weird one. Not sure why they chose to do that. They just forgot about 1440p. But I would like to see that addressed. I tried looking around on my PC for a config option to maybe go in there and tweak that a little bit, because I was also looking for options for the refresh rate, because I also have to mention that this game is capped at 60 FPS. And neither one of these things are bothering me too much, because this game runs really well in 4K. It's like not even taxing at all. When I was playing it at 1080p, it was using like 30% of my graphics card. This game is just not taxing, so don't worry if you could run this game. If you could run this game probably at 4K on like almost any graphics card. It's not taxing. Windowed mode, we do have full screen, borderless full screen, or windowed mode. VSync you could set on or off, but it doesn't matter because it's going to cap it out at 60 FPS either way. They do have sort of like these low, medium, high settings, but I have it set to custom, which I then had to change as well. The anti-aliasing goes to 4 times, texture filtering to 16 times. You can set motion blur on or off, and then you can set your shadows off, medium, or high. So not a ton of graphics options in here, honestly, at all. Very limited, but once you get into the gameplay, you'll see why it is limited, because it definitely fits the art style, as it really looks like you've been put right into a cartoon, which could also be maybe why they capped the FPS, although I'm still kind of want that 144 support, and I hope we get to find a fix for that soon, to maybe adjust a config file or something to unlock 144 hertz and maybe add in 2560 by 1440 manually into a config option. That's something I hope we get to see here soon on the PC, but let's go ahead and jump into the game now and take a look at that. Alright, so seeing as I am playing the game in 4K, that means you guys get treated to some 4K gameplay. So let's go on and get into it right here. You can see up in the top left corner my performance. Getting 60 FPS solid here on one 980 Ti at 4K, which is, you know, pretty damn good to be able to play it like that. And this game looks awesome, man. It's really, you know, like I said, built right into that old art style. You feel like you're basically back in the cartoon from the 80s, which is definitely bringing up that nostalgia factor for me as a child of the 80s and 90s. You know, seeing that in the old cartoon I used to watch all the time. So I absolutely love the art style, and I'm happy to see that they've stayed true to it here in this game. And Platinum Games has also just done a fantastic job with the combat in the game, man. And I would have expected that from them, because they have a track record of putting out just very, very polished titles. You know, kind of going under the radar in a lot of ways. You know, I mean, Bayonetta has gotten suppressed, but like Vanquish is a game a lot of people you don't see talking about. But that was an amazing game for the previous gen consoles. I loved Vanquish, and it was honestly one of my favorite games on the 360. I wish that we had it on PC. So I'm happy we get to play this game here, since some of their games don't actually usually make it to all platforms. Like Bayonetta 2 was a Wii U exclusive. I'm not sure if it still is, but it was definitely for a time anyway. But I'm just happy to be able to play this as a Transformers fan and a fan of the devs. And I definitely can't recommend this game enough. You know, for the gameplay, for the art style, the port quality, you know, while it has some quirky things like not having the 1440p support, being capped at 60 FPS, all that stuff. Everything else is there, though, and you could probably find this game for a decent deal on something like G2A. It's $50 on Steam, which might be a bit much for some people. I definitely get that, so maybe you want to wait for a sale. But besides that, I'm really enjoying this game, and I'm looking forward to playing it more. If you guys would like to see a stream of the game, maybe, you know, let me know down in the comments below, or stick a like on this video. That'll let me know. And maybe I could bring that to you guys over the weekend. If you guys want to see this and maybe some Battlefront, I could do both of those. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this performance review for Transformers Devastation as I die right there. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here now, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Ta-ra.